Hey everyone, it's Penberthy here, and in today's video, I want to talk to you about how I got a 20% increase in my opt-in rate on my capture page by changing basically just one thing, which is the headline. So I got 20% more leads coming through the exact same funnel by changing one thing. Hey, so listen, what I want to do in this video is basically break down for you just one little split test that I set up to try and increase our opt-in rate on a particular traffic platform, all right? Because if you've followed my stuff, if you've seen any of the other videos here on the YouTube channel, you know that I'm big on Facebook and Instagram advertising and also YouTube, okay? Now, one thing that I've been learning more and more is that these traffic sources, believe it or not, they do respond differently. It's very, very peculiar, right? Like when you're advertising on Facebook, people are scrolling the news feed, they can see you, you know, like they can spend a bit of time watching your video or looking at your image or reading the post. They can scroll past it. If they want to, they can decide to come back and see it again. Whereas on YouTube, it's much quicker, all right? On YouTube, your ad is popping up, okay, with the little skip button there. And you know, if you annoy them in that little moment, they're going to hit skip and you're gone forever, or until you, start advertising to them again. So you're gone much quicker. And so these platforms react differently. And it's always been a thing when you're trying to grow an email list, right? If you are driving traffic to a capture page or an opt-in page or a squeeze page, they're all the same thing. They're just different ways to name it, right? It's always been a thing that, look, the attention span on a registration page, or pretty much on any page online, is so quick. It used to be 8 seconds, now it's 7 seconds. Now I think on the Facebook news feed, the attention span is 1.8 seconds. If someone's scrolling and they're going to look at your post for less than 2 seconds before they decide if they're going to keep scrolling or whether they'll stick around, right? So this whole thing of attention is a really big deal. And what I have found with my stats and what I've got going on is that the attention span, okay, on Facebook traffic is slightly longer than on YouTube. All right, so if we've got someone coming to our page from Facebook traffic, they usually stick around on the page a little bit longer. They'll make a decision and take a bit longer over that decision. Now, listen, I'm not talking about minutes, okay? I'm talking about seconds. So like if someone was to stick around on my page from YouTube traffic for 3 seconds, Facebook might be 5, okay? So I'm not talking about a crazy difference, but it does make a difference all the same, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, it seems, now this sounds like a hilarious thing to say because you'd think they're all the same people, right? But traffic from Facebook does seem to be of slightly higher quality than the traffic on YouTube. Okay, now that being said, I right now spend more of my advertising budget on YouTube. I actually prefer it as a traffic source. I think it's easier to get started. I think it's easier to scale. So all round, I actually prefer YouTube as an advertising platform, but I do spend a considerable amount of money on both. But that being the case, the reality is it does seem like you get a slightly higher quality of person coming from Facebook than coming from YouTube. And an example of that would actually be this page right here. There's a reason why I've pulled this page up. This is my landing page for one of my webinars that has been crushing it for a little while. We've done about $500,000 on this particular webinar, and we run Facebook traffic and YouTube traffic to this page, all right? Now, this is focusing very heavily on the business owner audience, or the marketing audience, or the agency or consulting audience, because we're talking about, getting my business in front of millions of people, generating highly targeted leads. Like all of these keywords that are coming up there are things that my audience of business owners and coaches, consultants, they can relate to, all right? My business doesn't alienate them because they have a business. Talking about getting leads, they know that they need leads to get into their business to convert to sales. So this is all set up to speak to them. And this has worked really well. For cold traffic, never heard of me before, this page converts about 30 to 40% on Facebook. So it's actually pretty good for a cold ad, all right? Now, we've been running this on YouTube, and it's not been doing so well, okay? We still are crushing it on YouTube, don't get me wrong, but it's just frustrating because this page on YouTube has not been converting the same. It's been converting something more like 20%, and that's not good enough for me. So I'm like, right, I've got to be tweaking this page, got to test it. And funnily enough, props to a guy that I've been getting some pointers from. His name's Alex Becker, a really good friend of mine. Known this guy for a few years, and we were just chatting the other day, and he said that try a headline that is just stupidly simple. Doesn't really even need to read it for as long as you do from this traffic. Just make it super snappy, and this is the example of what we came up with. And it's a formula that Alex talks about. He says, your headline should be, what is it, what was the result, and how quick did it happen, right? And so he put this headline together, how I use this simple two-step, YouTube traffic strategy, that's the thing that it is, to generate over 6 figures, that's the result, in 29 days, that's the time period. And it does actually make sense, this thinking, right? Because for you to land on that page, the headline is not only about half the size, okay? So it is quicker to read, but also it's for the people from YouTube that are not necessarily as business-minded, potentially, or they don't really want to hear about, my business and leads and this, that, and the other. They just want to just hear the result. They've watched this ad that's popped up on their YouTube that's disturbing them from watching their other videos. There's a skip button right there. It's all happening so quick. They just need to click, see a headline that grabs their attention so quick, or they're going to leave again. Okay, and so we put this together. Now, one thing I will say is we've obviously changed the design of the page. Okay, I'm not blind. We have changed the whole design. That's not really made a difference, okay? Just trust me on that, because I've done a crap ton of split testing from page design, this, that, and the other, and that doesn't really ever make the difference. The big change is the headline, okay? Now, long story short, we did get about just over a 20% increase on this page in the first day. So it's gone from 20% to around about 25% opt-in rate, which doesn't seem like a very big jump. But if you think about the fact that I'm spending thousands of dollars a day, okay, if we're getting an additional 20%, if that number stays the same throughout the rest of our funnel, rather than doing 80,000 on a particular campaign, we're going to do 100,000 on that campaign. So a 20% increase, once it's compounded through your funnel and your sales process, it does make a big difference. Now, we're going to keep testing and tweaking this. This is literally the first day of testing. But I just thought it'd be fun to pop out here and give you an update, video here, and just let you know what we've been working on. So I just found that super interesting. Facebook seems to work really well with this page and this headline, geared, towards people who might spend a little bit longer on the page and digest this headline. And then this one for YouTube that is just kind of straight down the line. Here's the knee-jerk headline that just gets you to opt in, okay? Just super interesting, got a 20% increase, means a lot for our business, and I think you could learn something from it too. All right, so with that, I hope this video was helpful for you. And if it was, do me a favor, hit the like button on this video, leave me a comment. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you get notified of these new videos. I'm constantly putting out new training videos just like this one. And if you actually want to see this page and opt into this webinar and learn from it, I'll leave a link to that in the description box below so you can go through that as well. All right, appreciate you watching this video, and I'll see you in a future one.